Let's see. How's the lighting? Let's see what boost was up. See how that looks. What's good, loved ones? What's good? It says she is microphone. Okay. Let's get this thing right. Yo. What's up, beautiful people? What's up, loved ones? Today's a wonderful day. Today's a Thursday. What we normally do, we go live for our Respectfully Great podcast. And we are a little bit early. We're about 3 hours and 30 minutes earlier than we normally go live on. There are some things that we have to take care of today, family business, and then we're going to do such. But we're not going to disappoint because we are here live in real time, making sure that we show up and do a just job to make sure that we are accommodated with our mission. We are accommodating the loved ones, the supporters continuously. We're going to show up every week, no matter hell or high water. We're going to do our thing. Ty, what's up, loved one? My brother Tyler in the building. What's up, family? Yes. Beautiful thing. We are tapped in. So there's so many things that's going on at the very moment, but let's just break ice and just see how everybody's doing out there in real time. Ty, how you feeling today, loved one? Start there. How about we start right there? Switch this. Get this light a little right. Okay. Blessings, family. Absolutely. Yo, it was dope. I was chilling with Talia, Bree the other day. The family was out. I was asking about Hednell the other day as well. I think the God is in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. But if you talk to the God, tell him I send my love and big blessings and shout outs to the God. Family affair, beautiful thing. We are always tapped in. We always doing our thing. And it's a beautiful thing when we're able to come together with like-mindedness when you come to family, friends, etc. It's a beautiful space when you share the same sentiments around the same things when it comes to how we treat each other, how we treat ourselves. And when you hold yourself in high esteem, you always come into spaces where we occupy with other people that keep themselves in high regard and high esteem. So I think it's always a pleasurable experience when you're able to catch up with loved ones that you haven't seen in a while and you're able to share that space. And there's nothing but good conversation, nothing of turmoil and trauma and all the other etc. things, because a lot of times just dealing with life can become life can be life and things just get difficult even with our mindset. So I always want to be able to put ourselves in a mental space of wellness and forward progression and all of these beautiful things. It's primarily one of the reasons why I highlighted this topic. Quay, what's up, sis? One of the reasons why I highlighted this topic today, the training that we most miss out on. I said, I'm good to know. Ty says, I'm good, we hope everything is great your way. Absolutely, family. You know that. Unlimited love, family. Absolutely, God. Today we're just talking about things that we miss out when it comes to training. And today I'm breaking fast. Did my 3-day fast, monthly fast, which is always a pleasurable experience. It's a lot of training that's involved in that as well. You got to deal with a lot of discipline, a lot of routines, habits. All of these things are encompassed and shaping our mindset and how we think about things and how we do things. So I've been slipping normally because when I normally do my fast, I always do the Tuesday fast, whatever. But I missed out on my 3-day last month. So, no, I didn't know. I did 3-day with the homie. I did do 3 days. But the prior month, I was mixed out on. I missed out on, and I wasn't doing my just keeping up. I was switching days. Some days go Tuesday, some days go Wednesday, just all out of whack, and things were just coming more chaotic because of not having that set routine and being disciplined and having the right proper training towards these things. So when it comes to mindset, when it comes to how we do things, how we shape and mold how we create the progress, how we create the format in order for us to progress, and what we do and how we see things out, it's always something you can be mindful of. Proper preparation prevents poor performance, meaning that we plan ahead. A lot of times we feel like we can go and do things on a whim, and a lot of times when we do those things, it may not come out the way we intended to come out, because we know that it's always a thought process that we may have to go through in order to yield the results that we are looking for. So I just want to be able to highlight some of those things about how our training comes along and how we do things in our future and in our lives to get to and from. So I noticed with myself, just speaking fully transparent, that the boy was gaining some weight in some unwanted areas. The boy was gaining some, excess around the waist. And I'm like, where is this extra weight coming from? The boy training, the boy doing this thing in the gym. But I started to figure out that, hey, my eating habits has changed. I started to do a lot more late night eating, going directly to bed, a lot of snacking, doing a lot of things that when it came to my health and my diet was way out of whack. So I had to reel myself back in. I was building with my mother, and she was telling me her journey, how she started to do and implement more of her fasting throughout her daily weeks and the months, etc. And I'm like, you know what? I gotta get on my dean. I gotta get on my job and start doing more of those things. So shout out to Mama Love. Shout out to everybody that's out there striving for a better tomorrow and doing the necessary things today in order to yield that return on your investment. Although nothing is promised, but you have a higher probability hitting your goal and your goals when you actually do the work. A lot of times we miss out on the work and thinking that everything may just unfold and yield to whatever we feel that we need to want to get out of things. Because you say, hey, I want to get this $1 million, but we haven't planned on how to get the $1 million. We haven't strategized. We haven't saved. We haven't invested. We haven't done all the necessary things to get that result that we're looking for. It's funny, just talking about finances, right? On and off topic. I listened to Hope Bryant, the Black billionaire, and John Hope Bryant, and he was talking about how your finances, right? Well, your credit primarily. He was saying that they did a study on credit scores. And when he said that, what they discovered is that when you have people that had a credit score, no pun intended to anybody have you doing your thing out there when it comes to your money, finances, and credit, just a disclaimer, do whatever you need to do to figure out the things in your life. But what he was stating is that they did a ratio of lifespans directly connected to credit scores. So what do I mean by this? So they're saying that they found out between men and women that had credit scores within the 500s, their lifespan was only to like 60 years old. 60, I think like 60 years old. They did studies on individuals that had credit scores that were higher, between 700, etc. Their lifespan was well over the 70s, etc. So there was a 10-year gap with your credit score equating to how you live how you live during the course of your life. So I thought about it, and he started to explain how this correlated. So he was saying that now this day and age, we're able to have choice of healthier lifestyle. We have AI, we have more information, we have the internet, we have a lot of things that we can do when it comes to prepping our bodies for the near future, doing the right things, eating the right things, supplementing right, training right, exercising right, as well as taking care of our money, our finances, and doing investment things, etc., to prolong lifespan. So I found that statistic really, really interesting. And it started to make me think about, okay, well, where are the areas when you say environment, what type of environment where you see majority people, or a lot of times not pointing fingers and saying that all people, we just saying the generalization, right? When you're talking about certain environments, say like a poverty-stricken environment, when people are, or for the fact people just don't have financial literacy, to where they're struggling just understanding finances, when we have overflow of just spending and not putting some of this money in our pockets, investing it, or as soon as we get our money, the money go out. Started to pay a little bit more attention to this statistic, and saying, wait, hold up. Meaning that if my credit score ranges between 5 to 600, they showed a study to where their lifespans were only going to around 60 years old. I'm like, wait, whoa. And then saying, okay, well, individuals that are 7 and above, on average, lifespan was between 70 and beyond. So I started to think about these things in my own livelihood, saying, well, what was I taught? How was I taught? How do I implement? A lot of times we see things, we use things, and they come across our table one way or another. And the information that we get, do we put these things into practice? When we say practice, I'm saying training, practice, habits, routines. What are the things that we are carrying out on our daily lives to prolong our lifespan, our livelihood, our finances, our well-being, our happiness, our communication, the love that we build up with oneself to, exert that to other individuals that you love. So I'm saying that all of these things are correlated. So we always take one thing and disassociate the other things that may be attached to it. Understand this is what I'm learning. I'm learning that I am the progenitor. I am the end all be all, meaning that everything starts and ends with me, meaning yourself included. Everything starts and ends with you. So a lot of times we want to disassociate some of the things that don't suit us for whatever reason. A lot of times we have certain things that enable us, that handicap us, that we just love to indulge in, love to do because of maybe historically you done something traditionally within your family, some things that you may have done and habits that you have built up within oneself to cope with X, Y, and Z. Sometimes it's learn behavior through the media, through television, learn behavior through schooling, through some scholastic way, through family, whatever it may be, where we learn some of these things from. They can be the detriment, they can be a downfall or a progression. And when I started to learn that I'm the one that has control over a lot of these things. I'm the one that has control over how I handle my money, how I handle my finances, how I handle my mindset, how I handle my training, how I handle relationships, how I handle some of these things that just go on in my life. The end all be all always starts and ends with self. So when I took this topic today and I talked about training, it made me think about just my own journey and the things that I do along my journey, how I can go astray and then reel myself right back in. Just as me explaining that how my diet was one of the things that was slowing up my progression. It wasn't getting me the results I was looking for. I have a great training regimen as far as like being able to get up, being motivated to get up, exercise, mentally train myself when it comes to the things I consume, when it comes to mindset, the things I try to act out when it comes to my business, when it comes to my work environment, when it comes to my relationships. I try to strengthen these things by doing it daily. Now, although there's some things that can be challenging, right? Sometimes these things that we look forward to yield out our beck and call doesn't yield. And then now we dealing with some friction. Now we dealing with some things that may come with some level of hardship. And how do we handle these things? How do we train ourselves to train up? And how do we untrain to get rid of some of the bad habits, some of the bad routines, some of the lack or the laziness, or some of the things that take away from us moving forward? And when I started to listen to some of these things when it comes to self and start paying really close attention, doing the self audits and evaluating self, I started to realize that, hey, I have the power to change these things. Although on the opposite end of that, I can't control what other personnel may do. I can't control what other environments do. I can't control the mindset of others. But one thing I do have control over and autonomy over is self. So when I started to implement, even now, Lorenzo, what's up? I said Echelon Zero. What's up, family? Who is that loved one? State the name, because I'm bad with the Instagram names. just so I'll be able to call you by the government or the proper handle, so I know exactly who I'm conversing with. Echelon zero, peace and love, big prayers, big blessings. Just make sure that I'm just and make sure I'm doing the right thing on my note. You feel what I'm saying? So I can identify the face with the name. Um, but yeah. So it made me think about. Okay, you already know. Bert, what's up, loved one? Bert in the building. What's up, family? Big love, unlimited love, family. What's good, God? So yeah, so we're talking about the mindset. We're talking about how these things impede and impact our lives when we think and how we think. Other things that we don't have in our control. Sometimes it takes a go. That's the untraining. Sometimes we care too much. Sometimes we gotta uncare. Sometimes we go overboard with exerting self or being too lean, being this or being that way. Sometimes these things suit you, and sometimes they can be a disservice. The thing is finding that right balance within your life that enables you to cope and move forward. Because a lot of times, a lot of things may cause us stagnation when we don't know or we don't have the proper training, or we don't know how to untrain some of the mindsets that were prerequisites to for us doing what we normally do at this very moment. And that's some of the things that's very, very hard for me. And I'm in the phase of my life too, at various times, to untrain. And I'm doing it far as experimental with oneself. Oh, the God says positive enlightenment. Absolutely, loved one. Positive enlightenment. That's what we're here for. That's what we're going to always exert, even at our best and our worst of times, because that's what we primarily look for, positive enlightenment. And even though we may get some of that negative energy, we know how to handle those things properly when we're able to think. Instead of being in the midst of being reactionary individuals, we can learn from who we are. And that's the real strength, being more familiar with who you are, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses. And one of my things with me, I know who I am. Um, Sometimes when it comes to uh, being real intricate about things, being real specific, being real tedious, being real uh, conscientious about a particular thing in a way. I know that a lot of times people don't care about the things that you necessarily care about at that particular time, about that particular thing, and with the level of concern that you may have. So it's one of those things where, for me, the untraining aspect is not having that level of inclusion with everybody about the things that I necessarily care about. What I learned to do, even in this space, in this community, and throughout my journey, just learning throughout life, is that people show up to things that they want to show up for. People show up to things that they want to show up for. Meaning that if somebody has a favorite artist and they want to go to their favorite artist concert, they will buy the ticket. They will show up to the concert. If somebody wants to eat at their favorite restaurant, they will pay the money. They will go to that restaurant and they will enjoy their meal because that's where they will love to be at. If somebody want to go to their favorite smoke shop or candy shop or boutique or whatever, people will find a way to support what they already love to do. People don't necessarily show up to things that give them a different perspective on things that they're really not even intrigued by in general. So I learned that in this space that we have to learn how to uh, do what we normally do to the best of our ability, and have that level of care and concern. Quorum sub loved one, the care and concern about the things that we care about, and understand that the people may not have that same level of interest in the things that you care about, and we can't get upset because they don't have that level of interest. The thing is that you just need to focus on how you're going to get yourself from to and from, and be able to work around or in the confines of the things that you do in order to get you to the places and the levels that you need to get to. Because at those next spaces, at those next levels, there are people that take your business and your expertise and your thought process and how you do your thing, that level, they take it that serious. There are people that are out there that match your drive. There are people out there that match your energy. There are people out there that match your insight. There are people out there that match your care and concern. There are people out there that match your interest, your intrigue, or your tediousness, or there are people out there that just match the energy. Sometimes we need the rebellious, right? We need the rebellion because this is some of the environments that will be growing. I know that there are working spaces, bones, sub-level one. There are spaces that I know I go into to where I know my ideals aren't favorable because I bring some of my own insight from my experiences, my life into a space where things don't necessarily want to be changed. There's a way, there's a format, there's a structure to things. And, you come in with a different perspective. You looked at as a disruptor. And I understand that. And a lot of times when you come into spaces, you got to figure out, hey, is my energy going to be utilized to its best ability in this space? So when I'm talking about you, when I'm talking about the I, I'm talking about the M, when I'm talking about how you show up and how you create the spaces around you, understand there's always forces and energies that you can work with, or you're going to be repelled against and you're going to have some friction against. And you got to know how to work those things better once you know yourself, because we can't really control the outside noise. And that's some of the things that's been a real challenge for myself. I don't know how distractions has showed up in your life and how distractions have played a role when it came to your thought process and how you do things. I know that we all have challenges. Some of the challenges may be internal. Some of the challenges may be external. Some of the challenges may come just from wandering thoughts. Some challenges may come from a happening or a happenstance or something like a serendipity, because I love to use that term. Something that just happened. Just seems like you're on the short end of the stick, and then you end up finding out that, hey, this bad omen, this bad occurrence actually has something that yielded me a better return on my investment, because I thought it was all over. It was all done. I invested X amount of dollars into this idea, and the idea flunked, but didn't know that it led you to another door that opened up that's going to bless you in so many other ways, unseen yet already have shown up. So these are some of the things where I love to always highlight, because their experiences, they're the testimonies, they're the self audits. These are the things that you can literally take from your own life and be able to judge. And I think the we are the best teachers, although we get insight from other personnel, from experiences that they have. But in order to get better understanding of how you operate, what better story can you take but your own? Some people are dealing with a loss, right? Per se. We know in this life that people come and go, right? People live their life the way they want to live their life, and how they exit, only God knows how they're going to exit, right? But what I'm saying is that when people live their life, when people have a way of doing a particular thing, the only way that we be able to have a level of understanding is by evaluating how they live their life, or the experience, or the experiences that they shared with you on insight about how and why. The why is very, very, very important, because a lot of times we question people on why they do what they do. And sometimes it looks real, it looks odd from the outside looking in, like, why would that person in their right mind do this particular thing? We see sometimes well-known athletes, right, per se, and we don't want to idol worship. So a lot of times, just in our communities and our environments, in the day and time today, we idolize some of these people that's on television, whether it be a streamer, whether it be a YouTuber, whether it be athlete, whether it be radio personality, etc. People just tend to put more emphasis on other people other than self. So we tend to put people on a pedestal. So when we do that, we look at this person now and say, well, why would that person ever go out there and commit a crime of such? No pun intended. I was watching the Morris brothers, right? NBA, and just came up on my feed, and the brothers, they were gambling, right? And one of the brothers was in Vegas, and he didn't pay his tab. $250,000 didn't pay his tab, so he left. The cops ended up catching up with the guard at the airport, detained him, et cetera, et cetera. And the rest is, his legal business that he got to take care of. So what I'm saying to myself is that people will say, with all of that money, why in the world would an athlete like him, somebody with a well-known name, go into this space and leave without paying their tab? We all can say that from the outside looking in. We don't know why may not had the money, might have overspent on his funds, probably made a promise that he couldn't keep, or the casinos probably got it wrong. Who knows the true story behind why that occurrence happened? But when I'm saying from the outside looking in, only thing we can do is question why. But a lot of times, what we miss out on is that a lot of times we will make some of the same decisions if we were walking in their shoes, because we embody their mindset, we embody their the behavior. Sometimes the way we act towards a thing give us the inclination of what the probability of the outcome, such as myself, right? Taking me as a gambler, a reformed gambler. So personnel like me, there are times where I lost thousands of dollars gambling. There's times won thousands of dollars gambling. Ultimately, what I found out that, hey, the best solution for me is not to gamble, because if 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 I don't gamble, um I don't risk the reward or the loss. And what I'm saying is gambling, meaning like casino type gambling. I take big chances on myself in different areas of my life when it comes to my education, when it comes to the things I really, really care about that I know I could really extract something from. There's times in gambles that I took when I don't think you ever lose when you invest in your education, right? Even if there's some things that you find out about that educational path that you had took, it wasn't all crapped up what it's supposed to be, but you learn something from it. You learn what not to do. You learn personnel. You learn characteristics. You look for traits. These are some of the things that clues along the journey that you can say, hey, this may not be worth the investment because I've seen this structure like this before, and I don't know, it's kind of shaky. But you can do what you need to do in the near future. So when it comes to investment, when it comes to gambling, there's different variations. I like to take calculated risk per se, or educated guesses when it comes to where I disperse my time, my energy, my money, my resources. It's very, very important to understand um, these areas, even more or less about self. So, like I was saying about Morris, etc., is that a lot of times we question people on why they do what they do and don't really know the why. And that's what I want to really expound on when it comes to training. People were trained a particular way, and we get training from all variations for all shapes of life. Um, right now, between our communication, there are learning and training going on at the same time, depending on how we evaluate it. We can take a simple conversation and we can say, hey, that one thing right there applies, that thing over there doesn't apply. This thing right here, I'm going to question. This thing right here, I'm going to take this, put this in my pocket or in the memory bank, and I'm going to take this with me. And then in the near future, I'm going to implement it to see if it works, because I like how this thing right here sounds. So what I'm saying is it's a constant um, intake, ebbs and flows. Things are coming in, things are going out mentally, and we are constantly sharing data continuously, and we are learning along our journey. Every day we are learning, picking up and learning things, and then finding a way to untrain, to let go of some of the things. And what I'm saying is that with me, EBK Green, like Cell Love One, with me, I know that the untraining aspect has been more of a challenge than just picking up the receiving the data, because we all get kind of complacent a lot at times, right? When it comes to things that we are familiar with. So when we grow up in a space or an environment to where, hey, every Monday as a family routine, we're all gonna go out and eat ice cream. We've done this for 20 years, just say. Every day, every Monday, family thing, go out, we eat ice cream. One family member is diabetic now after, conditions after the years, end up developing diabetes and being a diabetic. We don't think it's the best idea for us to keep this routine of going out and sharing and indulging in the snacks per se, because we know that there are health risks that may be involved. What that requires is untraining, and now we have to actually switch up the routine of what we normally have done for X amount of years. Now, the thing I'm saying is that could be very, very difficult depending on where you are, who's around that supports some of these vices that we may have, good, bad, or indifferent, how we connect the stimuli to say, hey, You know what? This right here gives me a wonderful feeling because I think of family bonding when we go out and I get the ice cream. It's more or less bigger than the ice cream. It's just a bonding moment that we all can get together as a family members. So there's so many things that connect us to why we do things. And what I'm saying is it can be very, very difficult to detach from it. But we have to find a way. And there's some steps that we can take in order to figure out, hey, if this doesn't suit me, how do I replace that? What do I do if I no longer want to, be at high risk for health conditions, or I still want to have that family bonding time? What do you do? What do you do if we don't go out for ice cream? What do you think would be a healthier choice or a more suitable choice for the health of the overall family, or for that one personnel per se with that particular situation? How about we don't go out for ice cream? We go out to a movie, or we go to some health a juice bar per se, or we're gonna have healthy drinks, etc. Finding something to replace those habits, I find to be very, very pivotal in wanting to change. Having something to substitute has been something very, very valuable for me in my life when it came to some of the habits that I always upkept when it came to how I thought about things. So when I started to discover, hey Johnny, you like to gamble per se. How did I cut off the gambling? What did I do in replace of the gambling? What I started to do is say, hey, I have a investment portfolio. How about I take normally spend say $100 instead of me taking that $100 and risking it in a hit or miss with the gambling. How about I take that $100 and put that $100 in the S&P 500? If I did that every time I thought about gambling, or how much I gambled 2, 3 times a week, and it equaled out to $100 or $100 each time, what if I took that 100 and invested it in my future, the S&P 500? They did a study as well. They said that if you are 25 years old, and what are the numbers? Yeah, if you're 25 years old and you invest $300 in the S&P 500 every month, when you turn 60 years old, no, 54, I think 54, 56, 54, 56 years old at the age of 25, from the compound, etc., you'll come out, I think, with like 1.2 million. You'll be a millionaire by the time you're 54. But by the time you get to your 50s, if we started this when you was at 25 years old, thinking about this money, some people may never reach $1 million. Some people may well exceed over $1 million, depending on your goals, depending on how you look at life, depending on the value of making $1 million, what you can do with it, etc. Some people just want to live comfortable in their lives, whether they hit a million or not. If they can go home, sleep, their bed, eat, their family, do whatever the things that they feel they care about most, that may be suitable for them. What I'm saying is that for somebody that's looking for a financial, a freedom or outlet, right? When I came across this statistic, I'm like, I should have been doing this a long time ago. So if you're 25 years old and you initially take $300 and you put it to the S&P 500, by the time swag was sub level one, by the time you get to the age of 54, 56, you'll be a millionaire. So I'm saying to myself, had I done this back then, or listened, or instead of, hey, all of the amount of money that I went and gambled at those various times, what if I took that money to put in the S&P 500? Where will my finances be within a couple years? Whether my business makes a million, whether my job makes a million, whether I make the proper investments. They did the study saying that, hey, by this age, if I did those initial investments with my time and money and my energy, I did those things. By the time I get to 54, 56 years old, I'll be $1.2 million as far as money in investment portfolio. So a lot of times we think about things of right now, temporary. What gives us the satisfaction and the gratitude at the very moment? Those things can be very, very costly. This is part of some of the training that I had to untrain. So I said, hey, instead of me taking my money and my resources, spending it in the gambling world, how about I take that same dollar amount, and every time I think or I get the urge to gamble, let me take that $100, take it out, and put that money into the S&P 500, or put into some investment portfolio, or whatever high yield savings account, whatever you choose to do with your money. Just put it away to somewhere else to where it could compound and make more money. Make more money on top of your money. That's some of the decisions that I've seen that I had to make in my own life, because I started seeing my pockets on rabbit ears. Spend thousands of dollars just wanting to go out there and have the excitement of gambling. Things can be costly, but it's all part of the training. It's all part of how we train, how we learn to untrain. Sometimes we have preconceived notions about how we do things. I'm from this environment. I go to this place. I eat at this restaurant. I only wear Gucci, Balenciaga, whatever it may be. Some people just say they have a um, high lifestyle. So they have a lifestyle to where, things are just costing a lot of money just to upkeep with the Joneses. That comes with a dollar amount. That comes with a cost. What cost are you willing to let go of, or what are you willing to risk to change maybe just your financial perspective or your financial, well-being in the near future? What things are we willing to let go of and untrain to make sure that we secure better health regimen in the near future? Am I willing to let go of the donut or the cake? Am I willing to let go of feeding my mind with some of the promiscuous things that go on my mind when it comes to, my lifestyle choices about he, she, them, they, etc.? Do I want to keep indulging into a lifestyle that, hey, may cause some dysfunction or illness in the near future? So I took a look at my own lifestyle and did a self-audit and said, hey, you know what? How about I just change this one thing? I'm not going to change it all, because so many things don't change overnight. But if I initially drop the seed, we know that what happens when you plant the seed grows. I think they did the study. I can't remember if this is the tree or not. I think it's the bamboo tree, something like that. But initially, I'm gonna do the research and I have it afterwards. But I think it's the bamboo tree. When they initially plant the seed, nothing happens. Even though underground things are happening, but nothing happens until 5 years in, before it starts to grow. So you plant the seed and there's nothing that happens. I don't know how tall the tree gets after that process, but I know initially they don't see anything happen after you plant that seed for almost like 5 years. Think about that. Think about a plant. Think about all of the trees, all of the plants and the herbs we see around us that grow during seasons. Hey, this may take until a year from now, next season, etc. It's going to grow. But think about planting a seed and seeing nothing until 5 years in. How do you feel about the seeds that you plant in your life that you don't see a return on? Maybe not going to show up until 5 years or later. How would you feel about planting a seed today that you may not see the results until 5 years from now? Are you willing to do that today, or do you want the instant gratification? Are you willing to untrain your mind and say, you know what, let me put down this thing right here. Let me put down the donuts and let me pick up something of a healthier choice. Maybe a granola bar, some other snack or fruit or whatever, or power drink, etc. Are you willing to say, you know what, let me substitute this one thing because I feel that my health is getting, out of whack. Maybe I may going under some preconditions. I may be getting underlying diseases that I don't even know about. I know for me, I keep it on the eye because I'm telling you that the changes that I've seen with my own lifestyle, I've seen that at various times I get certain markings on my body. Like now, I used to have these a lot of blotches. They're going away, right? Some say it's due to the sun. I went to dermatologist, went to all these things. What I came to understand is that it's an underlying illness that my body's showing up on the skin, right? Showing up on the skin, which is the biggest cell of our body, which is our skin. So various times my whole arm will be covered like in blotches. But then now, just different healthier lifestyle changes. Not saying that this is the end all be all, but I've done some things. I took some things out that I know just wasn't good for me. And it could be a direct result to my health condition or not. But ultimately, what I'm saying is that these changes may not show up instant. It may take some time. It may take years. It may take, God knows how long. But what is your mission? Why are you doing what you're doing? That's the real question. Why are you doing what you're doing? Once you have a big why, it will answer all of the questions of you doing what you need to do. I heard something with Charleston White. Charleston White said this. They said, well, Charleston, do you ever get exhausted and tired of doing interviews and going on the internet and doing all these things? He said, what did he say exactly? He said that I asked for this. He said, I asked for this. He said, I can't never get tired of something that I asked for. I wanted to be in this space. I wanted to do what I do. I wanted to come up and have this level of impact for whatever, good, bad, or indifferent. But I wanted to show up and be in this space. He said, I don't want to turn this away. I make good money. I can provide for my family. Yeah, there's some pros and cons, but I asked for this. He said, I don't never look to get tired of things that I asked for in my life. And I'm like, whoo, that was powerful. And it made me think about self. It made me think about, hey, I say I want to come up and Pedro, what's up, loved one? I say I want to come up and I want to be somebody that have an internet presence. Although I know it's very early on, 26 episodes in. But think about 5 years from now. That's the goal. Because I'm like, hey, let's plant the initial seed now. See where it grows in 5 years. There's some beautiful things that I know that I would come up against. There's things that I know there's gonna be some fruits of my labor. It may not be in the way that I think it may show up. I just know me shaping up as a person that I intend to be it's shaping and molding me into that person now. Like along my journey, who I'm becoming during the process is what I'm learning about how I do my thing. But the initial seed is planted because it's changing who I am as far as here. How I act, my behavior is making me committed. It's making me show up at various times when, there's a term to say they take obedience over sacrifice, right? Taking obedience over sacrifice. A lot of times we may sacrifice for a thing, saying that, man, I gave my shirt off my back. That's my only shirt. But when you have obedience and you know that, hey, I'm doing this thing right here, with or without, continuously, I'm gonna show up every day to do my job. The days that I don't want to do it because I'm showing obedience, you become a different person. And this is what I'm learning about my health. This is what I'm learning about training. This is what I'm learning about routine. This is what I'm learning about habits. All of these things are in the same space. And it all comes down to levels of commitment. What are you committed to? Why are you doing what you're doing? Do you look at it? Do you put yourself on a time set on a time scale? Do you have an expiration date? I don't look to expire. And that's the whole goal. I'm looking to say, hey, where can I exert the energy at to where I want to become the person that I intend to become? Because these are some of the spaces I want to occupy. This is the person I want to become, because I know that me being the better version of myself creates more potential for me. It creates more potential. Me becoming the better version of myself increases my own personal potential. Now, when I increase my potential, that means that I have more room for growth. That means that I can do more. That means I can show up and serve in areas that I thought I couldn't, show up and serve. Sometimes we may have that voice. What's up, loved one? Sometimes we may feel like we have a voice, but it gets shunned out because we feel like we're not big enough yet. But it's the small things on a smaller scale that people don't see that has a major impact. Taking my cousin Ro, peace, loved one. He just came up and just me and the guy was building over last week, and he was doing some things that I didn't know he was doing. He made a drive up. I want to share the story, loved one, because I think it's super impactful, and it made a tremendous impact on me too. My cousin drove up from Virginia to New York just to hand out school supplies to various organizations, to family, friends, community events, churches, etc. And I don't think only but the people that know that seen him in that space know that he done that, because he didn't share it. So what I'm saying is that his mission is so big on so many levels, but it's like not doing it for the recognition. He's doing this because he's becoming a person that he intend to be in the near future, and he's exercising that through his behavior, through his mindset, through the risks that he's taking, through the challenges, through the obedience. Whether, okay, I got to drive 4 hours to New York. That's obedience. That wasn't sacrifice. It was obedience. So he doing things through obedience, saying that I'm going to do this because I know that there are things that I'm going to not necessarily get back from. I just know that my moral character, my moral compass is leading me towards these spaces. There's no wonder why he's a principal. There's no wonder why he's able to organize and be able to have people look at him in the light of somebody as a leader. It's because he takes leadership in private. That's what he takes leadership in private. And that's some of the things that we miss out on, because a lot of times we don't understand that we are creatures of habit. So sometimes we can get complacent by doing the thing one particular way and say, you know, I'm just comfortable doing it like this. He could have stayed the way he was and just say, I'm down here in VA, the principal. I'm only going to give books and school supplies and everything out to my school. No, he said, I'm going to go back to my community and do that. And I'm going to drive through obedience. And I'm going to get there. And I'm going to make sure that I do I'm going to connect with the right personnel to make sure that it gets out to the children. That's leadership. That's obedience. And these are the things that I recognize for myself, because I look, I want to do that. I want to be a personnel that's that dependable, that's that committed, that somebody's going to show up and say, you know what, when I call upon, Reed, he going to show up. When I call upon Ro, he going to show up, because he's a man of his word. His word is his bond. And these are the things that we have control over. We have control over those things. A lot of times we give our power away to other people and other personnel because we are interested maybe in the wrong things. Maybe through our upbringing, we created some habits around us. And unbeknownst to anybody else, it may be detrimental. Say a personnel just grew up in an environment where they got poor hygiene. No pun intended. To each his own. What I'm saying is that there are things that can't transpire that are harmful to oneself if we don't have personal care. Personal care is a beautiful thing, and a thing that should be cherished, because I always equated, you look how you feel. I think if you dress the part, no matter how, if you keep yourself up, if you upkeep yourself, no matter what type of clothing that you have on, if you have your presence, when your mind is made up that, hey, I want to be held in high regard and high esteem, that means that you have, you prioritize self-care. You care about oneself. You look at yourself as somebody that's of importance. And then when we start adapting these mindsets, when we start tapping into, hey, I can give more, I could do more. Jay, what's up, loved one? I could do more. I could provide more. I could be that person that I intend to be. It opens up so many other doors that we don't know that were there the whole time. A lot of times the key doesn't open because we haven't become the person yet. So there are doors. There are people that's watching. There are people that are analyzing. There are things that are always conspiring to work in your favor. The doors just haven't opened up yet. And this is the things that I think we miss out on because we feel like, along my journey, I may get a little bit discouraged. Hey, I was looking on that. I was waiting on this product to drop. I was waiting on, the vendors to get back at me. I was waiting on my finances to come through this channel. I was waiting on school supplies from this channel. I was waiting on from the support from the homies or the friends or family. And nobody support me on this run. Or I was waiting on some other things, and something just happened. Here comes the serendipity. Here comes, hey, everything seems like, chaos. This happened by, for whatever reason, here it goes, that I didn't know that there was a seed that was planted X amount of years ago when you had your mind made up to say, I'm going to commit to this thing. I'm going to show obedience over sacrifice. I'm going to show up with or without. I didn't get the money from them. I didn't get the support. I didn't get the drop. I didn't get the vendors. I didn't get my car broke down. I got to pay the tire. All of these things are occurrences that may happen for a greater good. That's where the serendipity come in at. But you got to be committed through obedience. You got to have that bigger why. Sometimes we have to untrain the mind to say that, hey, I know there's some things that's going on out there, and I can't be caught up in the chaos with he or she or they got going on over there, because all that is a distraction for me and my goals, from where I'm trying to go, because I'm tapping into the same behavior like I was talking about with oneself with gambling, I get caught up in the behavior aspect of it. So I start to act more or less, okay, money, money, yeah, yeah, money, money, yeah, yeah. I'm start chasing the bag now. So when I start chasing the bag, I may do some things that go against my moral compass. I may do some things just for chasing the bag that will risk maybe my freedom. I'll go out there and start doing some things for the bag that go against my morale. I may start going out there doing some things for the bag that may cause shame upon me or my loved ones. Now, where does that lead me? Where am I at now? How do I navigate around this? I didn't see this coming. Well, we did know that the behavior that we carried out, the routines, the things that we've been doing continuously over and over again, it yielded us a return. Only thing constant is change, but we unwilling to change. We're doing the same things and nothing's changing. Only thing constant is change, but we the only personnel that's unwilling to change. Something that's just happening, by law. Because things change. But if we don't change, how we expect anything to Einstein said, we do the same things and expecting a different result. That's part of insanity. We're doing the same thing, but expecting a different result. We are unwilling to change, so things doesn't change. When the world and the universe is just dealing with constant change, constant seasons, summer, winter, spring, fall, etc. Everything's going around in seasons. There's some seasons where you're gonna be financially up. There's gonna be some seasons where you're financially down. There's gonna be some seasons where you're in this age of enlightenment. There's gonna be some seasons where you're drawing out on despair. And you're out there like, oh my gosh, I don't know where I'm gonna get the energy to overcome this thing. Remember, nothing's bigger than you. No problem is bigger than you. If you become bigger than a problem, there's nothing out there that's bigger than you. If you become bigger than a problem, meaning that there's no problem that you can't solve. There's no problem that you can't solve. You just got to become that personnel to solve it. You got to become the personnel to solve it. And all we got to do is start thinking. The hardest thing that most of us never do is think. The hardest thing that most of us never do is think. We got automated responses when it comes to things. How your day going? Good. How your day going? Good. Barely want to talk. Barely want to interact. I use this example all the time. We say, well, tell me why your day is good. Now a personnel got to explain why their day is going good. It requires more thought, more thinking. Now I can connect you. Now I can connect with you on a different level when you explain your why. Why is your day going well? Why is your day going bad? The why. People are connected to the story. We always want to get to the end result. Everybody want to finish the race. Everybody want to finish the race just to say that they finished the race. Why? If you can't detail what you experienced along the way to teach somebody else along your journey. Is that what's up, loved one? Why are we doing some of the things that we're doing if you're not able to teach and learn from ourselves? That's our testimony. Do everybody get everything right? No, they don't. Who is I'm not talking, but I was watching something with Dr. Ali Muhammad, and he was explaining that you get perfection through imperfection, through trial and error. Meaning that we have to go through things, fall on our face a couple of times to get the perfection. We don't just come out the womb running. We come out the womb not able to crawl, being held by someone else. Then we start to crawl. Then we stand up. Then we start to walk. Then we start to run. It's a process. Everybody want to go from out the womb to running. And we take that level of process and mindset when it comes to how we do things in our lives. We want the microwavable, we want it done now. We want it done now. When we're missing out, hey, the real gem is who you become during the process. Because there are gonna be some things that other people can't teach you, about your grind, about your grit, about the gruelingness of going through and doing the boring work. Some people hate the boring work, but that's where you start to grow at. Being able to do things out of obedience every day, even when you don't want to do them. Who here wants to go to work and you don't get along with your coworkers? You don't get along with your boss. You don't get along with the environment. The travel is about 2.5 hours. You got, the baby's sick. You gotta stay home, but you gotta go to work because you gotta pay the bills. So you gotta find a babysitter or somebody got to. Who wants to go through those conditions to have what they want? Everybody wants. Now I want it right now, but through the obedience, you know how to work through these things. Now, as a parent, you can say, "Hey, okay, we co-parenting. Some days you have the child, other days I have the child. Or this day I go to work, or this day you go to work, and vice versa. Or this is what we need to do for a rainy day so I can afford to take off. This is what you can do for the rainy day in order for you to take off to provide whatever service you need to do at home or doing your home duties, etc. Or just if you just want to kick back and lay in your bed. Duke, what's up, loved one? K in the building. So a lot of these things, what I'm talking about, is just us being more observatory about who we are, where we are, and the things that we do in our own lives, and paying real close attention to our habits, to the training that we got, because we all get training. We get training from school, we get training from family, we get training from the internet, we get trained at our jobs, we get trained through relationships. We carry some of the same baggage through every space in it, everywhere we go in our lives. We have some baggage with us. And we tend to take that same baggage through every environment or every phase of our lives and thinking that, hey, this is what I experienced in this situation. I'm going to take it with me over here and it's going to work. Let me be the first to tell you. Some of that baggage we have to unpack and leave it where it's at. Because in other spaces, that garbage and that baggage ain't tolerated. Have you ever noticed when you go through certain neighborhoods, just in general, environmental, where you see everything looks, very pristine. Look like you eat off the driveway, eat off the floor, per se. Just using this hypothetical, saying that you can drive down some roads. They got stop signs. The lawns are well manicured. The people, everything, nice vehicles, etc. Just go into these spaces and everything just look in order. Then you go to some other environments where a lot going on, a lot of chaos, a lot of garbage everywhere. Grass is up to the windows of the house, etc. Whatever. Blah, 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 blah. We notice the difference. We notice the difference. It's all boiled down to how we think. How we think. How do we upkeep these things when it comes to personnel? When it comes to, okay, what are the things that you're prioritizing? Where's your mindset at? Do you care about, your environment? How about that baggage that we want to take over here into this other space and environment? It's not tolerated over here. Hey, you might get a neighbor knock on your door. Hey, man, you got all that garbage in front of the house, man. I don't know where you came from, no pun intended, but hey, over here, everybody thought they garbage. Everybody put the garbage here, everybody put the garbage. This is the way we do things over here. We learn these things in every environment that we go in. Every environment, we bring something from other places with us. And it can be add something that's added or something that's going to take away. So how we act, how we respond, how we, utilize the training that we have got in our lives, it actually open up certain doors for us. If somebody that doesn't know how to behave and don't know how to curb, knowing when to engage, when to disengage, I think this environment may not be for you because you don't know when to engage and when to disengage until you learn the proper training and say, hey, right here, nah, this is how we do things over here. They say, when in Rome, do like the Romans. Meaning that, okay, in the environment that you're in, learn the law of the land, learn the rules and the structure. A lot of times we want to play the game the way we want to play the game. And sometimes you may end up with a lot of friction. And it will cause a lot of hardship, time, money, energy, resources, because we want to do what we want to do when we want to do it. And you're entitled to that. But everything comes with a cost. And what cost are you willing to put up or risk to go into this space or this environment? Sometimes there may be your only shot. You may get through that door and okay, you here now, but you wasn't prepared. The proper preparation prevents your poor performance. You ain't prepared. So now that you enter this room and you're not prepared, now we got to go through, the fault. We may have to go through the flaw. We have to go through the faults and learn through trial and error now. But now that door may open up maybe, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. It's gonna come back around again, but it may cost you time, money, energy, and resources. Right? What's up, loved one? Billy in the building. What's up, God? So this is something I want to talk about when it just comes to training aspects and untraining. Everything that we do is training. Everything we do habits. Everything we are creatures of habits. Everything that we do is routine. Everything that we do is shaping and molding us to something, to be something, to become something. Who are you trying to become? Why are you trying to become them? What are you looking to do with who you are, and why is it important to you? Find your why. Train, untrain. Got some notes over here. We didn't even get to, but let's see. See if I could touch on something really quick. I mean, we pretty much got a lot. Anybody have any ideas or any thoughts or any something that they want to add or implement, or just let me just hear your voice of reasoning or oppose or your opposition for some of the things that we expounded on today. Habits, routines, talked about that. This is right here. Like that. We pretty much covered a lot. Repetition. Got a repetition now. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty much, man. We had a beautiful experience today. We had a wonderful podcast episode. It's a beautiful thing when we're able to show up. And what I'm learning is that I kept emphasizing it throughout this episode is obedience. Because first I wasn't convinced even on that terminology, sacrifice over obedience, because it didn't make sense to me in the beginning. And I heard it from various places. And I started to understand the concept of sacrifice and having obedience. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Showing up the best version of you, Charleston White, showing up the best version of you when you come in contact with people, when you come in contact with your work, when you come in contact with your mission, with your purpose. How you keep designing your purpose is by showing up the best version of yourself so you can maximize your potential at that level. And then once you start to grow and become a different person, now that maximizing potential gets increased. Now you have the potential to do more because you're more equipped with skill sets. You're more equipped with a different mindset. You have a growth mindset at this moment. So now there's some things that you're going to be introduced to that you really wasn't prepared to show up for maybe 2 years ago because you didn't become that person yet. Yeah, we all want to hit the big stages and be, world renowned for your skill set, your expertise. But there's going to be a time where you're going to be asked to come to the stage. Whatever your stage is, whether it's with the work, with the business, with mindset, with the money, your finance, it's going to be a time and place to where you're going to be called upon to show up on that stage. And the real question is, what work were you putting in leading up to that moment? Are you prepared? Are you getting prepared? I don't know what my moment going to be, but I'm preparing every day. The days that I don't prepare, I see the results. Like neglecting my diet. I see that. It shows up on me. I see that visibly. Can't run from that. Can't hide from that. Yeah, I do the other things well. I do my fast when I'm supposed to. Exercise when I'm supposed to. The diet. Very, very important. Visible. We can't duck that. That's where the accountability coming at. This is where I love to be held accountable. Hey, my boy, you do great on these other areas. You do the diet, your fasting. Well, you do your fasting, you do your exercise. But what about that diet? Are you the late night snacker? Are you still eating at XYZ time? Are you still golfing down the donuts, cupcakes, candies, etc.? It takes some discipline. But that's in all areas of what we want to grow in. And something that Coach Lucky says all the time is that you want to grow into things and be able to grow out of it. Meaning that, hey, once you grow into a space, you want to maximize that potential there. And then there will be a time where that place, that environment doesn't serve you until you get to that next level, that next space, to where you can strengthen some of the skill sets that you learned along your journey. That's from the crawling stage, from infancy to running your life, running your path, running your purpose. This is what happens when we become the person that we desire to become. There's so many beautiful things this week moving in my nephew to college. So proud of him. And I talk to him frequently, almost every day. But I tell him how much I love him and how proud I am of him just because of his own career choices, because of his own mindset. I know this day and age, we have a lot of the media where they try to deter you from, going to school, getting an education. Or you don't have to go to school, you don't have to, although you don't. But if you want something to fall back on in general, go get it. How does it hurt just getting an extra education? Even though no, um, there's a book called by what's my brother name? Weapons of Mass Instruction. Weapons of Mass Instruction, and he details how the school system was set up, and who and the powers that be, why they created the school system. I don't know, it was Jefferson. I'm not sure what president at the time implemented the mindset of how they want to structure school, because it was really put in place for the Industrial Revolution to create workers. That's primarily how they started to treat school. But what I'm saying is that education never stops on no level. So there are gonna be some things that you learn in each space that you go into, each environment that you go into. You're always gonna get educated. So my whole thing is that when I encourage my nieces, my nephews, friends, family, etc., don't ever stop your education. Don't ever stop your education, because we always are learning. We always are learning from how we done things previously, how we going to approach things in the near future, learning from other people, learning from our own mistakes and other people's mistakes. So I just think that education all around the board is a beneficial thing, and I don't want to have a conversation around the way we take it for granted, because some people just think that things are going to be handed over to us. In this environment, it don't work like that. We have access to a lot of things, but a lot of things that people miss out on is the work ethic. People still fail to realize that no, you have to work. Although you have everything at your fingertips, you still got to go out there and make things happen through your work ethic. And this is where I believe that you can strengthen it. I was watching something with Vlad TV, and he was talking about school, and he said, "Yo, one thing I learned throughout school, although that he does what he do with his platform, etc., he said that he learned how to do the boring work and do the things when he didn't want to do it." And this is primarily we was talking about, that obedience thing, showing up to do the work when you don't want to do the work. So powerful. You'll learn so much about you. So now when it comes to tasks getting done, the completion of tasks, you'll be able to finish the race. You'll be able to complete the work. You'll be able to do the grueling hours. You'll be able to do or endure the boring work when it comes and you present it with it. Because a lot of times this is where we start getting impulsive. We start dealing with the distractions. This is when the phones start getting pulled out. This is when we twirling our hair, playing with our gum and doing everything else under the sun, not really focusing in on the mission. Prioritizing, putting your why at the forefront, knowing why you're doing what you're doing, creating your purpose. Keep designing. You're a creator. You're a creator. You're a creator. I was looking up at my vision board, and there's something that there are 4 levels of value. That's I'm looking at it. Implementation, unification, communication, and imagination. Implementation, lowest level. This is where you have just the regular hands-on work. Implementation, we're the implementers. Hey, go sweep the floor, mop the floor, etc. We're implementers, just hands-on. Implementation. Unification is more or less like superiors. Somebody is like a manager. Somebody is like, hey, you go over there and you sweep the floor. Unification. Implementation, unification, communication. The third level of value, meaning that when people start to be able to communicate using their voices and speak, these are personnels that just exercise communication, that know how to talk, speak, at open forums and platforms where they use their mouthpiece in order to yield a return on, their investment. That's the third level of value. And the last level of value, which is the fourth level of value, they call it imagination. Imagination, meaning that the creator aspect in you, the thought-provoking aspect in you, the ability to think is the highest level of value. So these are some of the things that we need to learn within our communities. Learning that there are different sectors, There are different, class. We in a classes society, classism. When we start learning, when we know that these things exist, then we can start identifying where we want to place ourselves. Yeah, we can be implement. You could be implementer. You could be a unified. You could be a communicator. But the highest level of value is being able to think, implement, imagination, having imagination, thinking outside of the box, thinking of things that you didn't think you could possibly think of. Dream big. Dream big. Think of the most outlandish that you can think of. Strengthen that. Do that daily. Write down just 3 ideas every day. This is some of the training that I learned from Coach Brand, when I was in a coaching program, and she was just strengthening us. It was about ideas, and we did it as a gratitude towards finding appreciation around the things that we already have. We had to write down 3 things every day around things that we appreciate. And then we couldn't use the same 3 things the following day. We did that for a week or a month or whatever we did it. And then it started to get real challenging, because we started to be redundant in some of the thought process. Like, already thankful for my family, thankful for my fingers, thankful for food, etc. And then you start to really have to think about, damn, I had to go deeper in thought and start finding things that I may overlook all the time. And this is where we start strengthening the imagination. Now we can start thinking outside of the box, start finding things around us to attach ourselves to be bigger than life. And this is how we start being creators. This is how we start being personnels that have no limits. That have no limits. And this is some of the things I want to constantly impede inside of our community, inside of our talk forums, inside of our platforms. I always want to be able to strengthen the way we think and how we think, and showing that we can get to and from a place. And it's all going to start and end with oneself. It's always going to start and end with oneself. You're the personnel. You're the one that have the ability. You're the one that has unlimited amount of potential. Sometimes it's hidden. You got to be able to bring that thing out, but it deals with, bringing out that trust in oneself, believing in oneself, getting around environments to where the beliefs are bigger, where the mindsets are bigger, where the accountability is bigger. When you're in small environments and nobody cares, when you're in a careless environment or careless society, you get careless results. When you're in a careless environment, you get careless results. So start getting around where Gary Vee says, get around people that love you enough to tell you the truth. Get around environments where people care. Get around environments where people care. Because now if he care and she care, together we care, then everything around us, we start holding up in high regard, and having care and concern around them. So now we can put emphasis around it to say, you know what? Let's do this for a better tomorrow. Let's make the necessary changes today for a better tomorrow. But you got a bunch of careless people, personnel, or environments, the value on people and life and purpose doesn't matter. The value of people, the place or the environment in ordinary life, it doesn't matter, because now nobody values it. Today has been a wonderful episode. I always want to emphasize, if today I said something that you felt a particular way about, or got taken out of context, or for whatever reason caused you some disdain or some heart, just feeling upset around what I said. Understand that my intentions wasn't to hurt. It's always for um, leading towards the truth. And that's the whole premise of why we open up these dialogues around these things, so we can have a different type of insight around it, so we can build up to a place to where we can challenge one another to get truth, right? So that's the whole premise of why I do what I do. If today something that you found of value, please share it. Please tell somebody, like the video, share comments, because this is the way we be able to spread the algorithm. Let other people know that, hey, there's something of value over here, and we all can share the same type of sentiment around it, because we are carers. We are carers. We care about who we are. We care about our purpose. We care about our why. We care about our environment. We care about our family. We care about self. So now we be able to build up instead of destroy and destruct. We be able to build up instead of destroy and destruct. Powerful. Everybody out there, stay blessed. It's been a beautiful day. We're going to continue to show up next week, regular time at 7 p.m. Although we are early today, but it was for just family business that we got to take care of. And we always got to prioritize with family, but we also not going to miss out on the mission, because we're here to show up every week. So regardless, you're still going to get something dropped. If something in the near future happens, we're still going to pre-record and drop on at 7 p.m. or the day of. So thank you for everybody that did show up, knowing that the times were different. I'm super proud, super ecstatic, and it just shows constantly that you guys are willing to help and support in any way that you guys can, just by showing up and showing your attention, just being present. That means the world to me, and I want to constantly reinforce that, because I know that as a community we can continuously grow. The message will get bigger, the impact will be more, and more or less we'll be able to get the eyes necessarily that will lead us toward those doors that we need to open up. And we get the eyes on us from personal experiences, from collective, as the platform grows. We'll be able to get those doors open to get the conversations that we need to have, the real conversations from real people in real time around real things that's going to impact our lives. So that's the beauty of us having this dialogue and continuously doing what we do. So love yourself, love your neighbor, love the people around you, continuously grow. Challenge yourself. Do things that make you uncomfortable. Laura Boy says that our brain starts to grow and strengthen when we start to do harder tasks. That means challenge yourself. So do those things, because you will be amazed at your growth. I'm telling you, you'll be amazed at your growth. There's some things that I look at myself and I'm like, there's no way I even thought that I'll be able to get here. And although it's still a work in progress, I am still working towards getting where I need to get to. But this is the seed that's planted, and we see where that fruit that it bears. We see that the fruit that it bears within 5 years, 5 years from now, just to see the journey. So thank you again. Continuously love yourself, continuously stretch yourself, and challenge yourself, and just do your part, and everything else will work itself out. Plant those seeds. I will see you on the next episode of the Respect for the Great podcast. Podcast number 26 is down, and I will see you next Thursday, 7 o'clock. Same bad time, same bad place on these platforms. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tap in. Also turn those notification buttons on. Do that as well. Turn those notification buttons back on. I will see you next week. Love it. Love yourself. Respectfully.